David is 35. His uncle passed away in March and left him $100,000. Not a life-changing amount in the way movies portray inheritances. No mansion, no lawyers in a wood-paneled office, no dramatic reading of a will. Just a check that arrived in an envelope and sat on his kitchen counter for 11 days while he figured out what to do with it. David has a job. He earns $52,000 a year as a project coordinator, which is fine. Not exciting, not abundant, just fine. He has $18,000 in a 401k he rarely thinks about, and $3,200 in a checking account that ebbs and flows with the rhythm of his life. The $100,000 is the largest single sum of money he has ever held, and it has introduced a kind of low-grade anxiety he didn't anticipate, because doing nothing with it feels wrong, and doing something wrong with it feels catastrophic. He does something specific. He puts all $100,000 into SCHD, the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF, inside a Roth IRA. Not because he's a sophisticated investor, because he read enough to understand what it does. He checked the historical track record, and the fee of 0.06% annually reassured him that nobody was going to take a meaningful cut of his uncle's money for doing essentially nothing. He sets it up on a Wednesday evening. He enables DRIP, dividend reinvestment. So every quarterly payout automatically buys more shares. He closes the app. And then the question starts. Not the sentimental one about what his uncle would have wanted. The mathematical one that he can't stop running in his head late at night. Can this actually replace a salary? What happens to David in year one? At the current SCHD price of approximately $33.29 per share, David's $100,000 buys approximately 3,003 shares. At the current annual dividend of $1.05 per share, those shares generate $3,153 in dividend income for the year. That's $263 a month, $788 arriving every quarter. David's first quarterly dividend check is $788. It lands in his Roth IRA on a Tuesday. He doesn't touch it. It automatically purchases 23 additional shares. His account now holds 3,026 shares instead of 3,003. He tells a colleague at work about it. The colleague asks how much he made. David says $788 for the quarter. The colleague nods politely and says, "That's cool," in the way people say something is cool when they're not entirely sure it is. The colleague isn't wrong to be unimpressed. $788 a quarter is not a salary. It's not close to a salary. It doesn't pay David's rent or his car insurance or his grocery bill. It's a nice number that produces absolutely nothing David can point to in his actual life. What it is, though, is the first link in a chain. And the chain is what matters. Not the first link, what the chain becomes. Here's the thing about SCHD that most people don't see clearly in year one. The fund has 13 consecutive years of dividend increases, growing at an 11% annual CAGR from 2012 to 2025, with the smallest annual increase in that window being 3.8% in 2023. David didn't just buy a dividend. He bought a dividend that has raised itself every single year for over a decade, through 2 market crashes, a global pandemic, and multiple interest rate cycles, without once going down. The track record is the thing the $788 doesn't communicate on its own. The $788 is the starting point of something that grows whether David does anything or not. What happens to David at year 5? David has kept the DRIP running. He hasn't added a single additional dollar of his own money. He hasn't changed the allocation. He hasn't done anything except not interfere with a process that was running without him. Using a conservative 8% annual dividend growth rate below SCHD's historical 11% average to account for the possibility that the next decade underperforms the last one, a 6% annual price appreciation, also below historical performance. David's position at year 5 looks like this. He now owns approximately 3,350 shares. His annual dividend income has grown to approximately $4,990. That's $416 a month, $1,247 per quarter. The quarterly check that was $788 is now $1,247. David didn't earn that increase. He didn't negotiate for it. He didn't ask anyone's permission. The companies inside SCHD, Coca-Cola, Texas Instruments, Verizon, Procter & Gamble, businesses that have paid dividends through every economic cycle in living memory, raised their payouts, and David's income rose with them. His colleague at work got a 3% raise last year. David's dividend income grew 8%. This is the moment the comparison starts to feel less abstract. Not because $416 a month replaces a salary. It doesn't. But because the trajectory of David's $416 and the trajectory of his colleague's paycheck are pointed in fundamentally different directions. His colleague's income is capped by what his employer decides. David's income is driven by what the underlying companies decide. And those companies have been deciding to pay more every year for 13 consecutive years. What happens to David at year 10? David is 45. He still has the job. He still earns a salary. Now $58,000 after a few modest raises. His SCHD position has been running on its own for a decade, untouched, reinvesting every quarterly dividend into more shares automatically. He now owns approximately 3,760 shares. His annual dividend income has grown to approximately $9,060. That's $755 a month. $2,265 arriving every quarter. Sit with that for a moment. From $100,000 invested at 35, with nothing added and nothing withdrawn, David is receiving $755 a month in passive income at 45. That's more than many Americans pay for rent in lower cost of living areas. It's a car payment, utilities, and groceries combined for a lot of households. It's more than the federal minimum wage produces in a month. David is not yet outperforming his salary, but he's no longer supplementing it with something trivial. He's running a second income stream that costs him 0 hours per week and grows every year without being asked to. His colleague who said, "That's cool" in year 1, is now asking more questions at lunch. What happens to David at year 20? David is 55. He has been employed for 20 years since inheriting the money. His SCHD position has compounded for 2 decades. He's never added a dollar of his own money. He has never sold a share. He has reinvested every dividend, every quarter, without exception. He now owns approximately 6,200 shares. His annual dividend income is approximately $32,700. That's $2,725 a month. $8,175 landing every quarter. $32,700 in annual dividend income exceeds the median U.S. personal income for Americans under 35. It approaches the after-tax equivalent of a $45,000 to $50,000 salary when you account for the fact that qualified dividends are taxed at a lower rate than ordinary income, typically 15% for most investors, and that inside his Roth IRA the tax rate is 0. David's $100,000 invested at 35 and left completely alone for 20 years now generates more income annually than most Americans earn from employment. Without a manager, without a commute, without a performance review, without anyone's permission. His uncle's $100,000 has not just preserved itself. It has become a machine that pays David $2,725 every month for the rest of his life and raises that payment every year, and will keep doing both whether David is paying attention or not. The question David keeps asking himself. The question isn't whether the math worked. It obviously worked. The question David asks himself at 55, looking at the quarterly statement that used to say $788 and now says $8,175, is the one he wishes someone had asked him at 35. What if he had added to it? What if, instead of leaving $100,000 alone for 20 years, he had added $400 a month on top of the reinvestment? At the same assumptions, the position at year 20 wouldn't be 6,200 shares generating $32,700. It would be closer to 9,800 shares generating approximately $52,000 annually. That's $4,333 a month. from a $100,000 starting point and $400 a month of consistent additional investment. $400 a month is the price of a modest car payment. It's 2 or 3 dinners out per week. It's the kind of number that feels manageable in a budget and looks completely different after 20 years of compounding. David didn't add $400 a month. He was conservative. He wasn't sure. He left it alone because leaving it alone felt safer than touching it. And the version of David who left it alone still ends up in an extraordinary position at 55. The version who added $400 a month ends up in a position that makes work entirely optional. The honest answer to the question, can $100,000 in SCHD outperform a full-time income? Today, no. David's $263 a month is meaningful and growing, but it's not a salary. In 10 years, it outperforms minimum wage on an after-tax basis and represents a genuine second income alongside employment. In 20 years, it outperforms the median U.S. personal income and rivals the after-tax equivalent of a $45,000 to $50,000 salary. Without David showing up anywhere. In 25 years, under the same conservative assumptions, approximately $62,000 in annual income, more than most Americans earn from employment, from $100,000 invested at 35. The investment doesn't replace a career at the starting line. It builds a parallel track that eventually runs faster than the career does. And at the point where the two tracks converge, where the dividend income matches or exceeds what employment provides, something fundamental changes. Not the number in the account, the relationship David has with his job, with his time, with the choices he makes every morning when the alarm goes off. The $100,000 David inherited at 35 doesn't give him freedom the day he invests it. It gives him the 20-year process of building toward freedom, one quarterly dividend at a time, until the machine his uncle's money became is generating more than his employer ever did. That's not a get-rich-quick story. It's a get-free-slowly story. And the only way it fails is if David gets in the way of it.